Apple Core.
Baltimore.
Who's your friend?
That Groovy Scoobcast.
Welcome to your go-to audio hub for all things Scooby-Doo. I'm your host, Derek.
And I'm Shannon.
Thank you for joining us today. Shannon, it is our last episode of Season 1.
I know, I'm surprised we've made it.
What, you thought we would fall out?
No.
What do you mean by that then?
I don't know, I'm surprised I'm still alive for this.
Oh.
I made it, guys.
I'm really excited to discuss the episode that we watched, Bravo, Dooby-Doo. What were your general thoughts, real quick?
I wasn't super excited for it when it first started.
That was your first watching of it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I said before, I'm not a huge Johnny Bravo fan.
Yeah.
I watched it when I was younger, but I faded out of it relatively quickly, so I wasn't excited to watch this episode.
Okay.
But I did like it.
Okay. Well, is it at least better than what we watched last week?
Yes, definitely better than Monster in Mexico.
I would take this any day.
I would take it any day over Monster in Mexico.
Today we are going to kick off our last Mystery Machine match for the season, and then we will definitively decide who's eating the hot dog tacos.
I mean, at this point, I think it's going to be me, because even if I get all three right, I think I'm still losing.
Yes, currently I stand at 25 points and you stand at 20.
Yeah, so essentially this is just going to see how far I can bury myself.
Well, as always, Shannon, you can go first.
You're going to get this one. Scooby-Dum's favorite food is funky fritters or fries?
I think fritters.
You're right.
I haven't seen an episode really about Scooby-Doo in such a long time.
I know, but I figured you would because, like, he's your favorite, so.
Yeah. Here's your first question. In addition to Sam's Pizza, where else did the gang get pizza from? Louie's or Lenny's?
Louie's?
It is Louie's.
Oh.
I don't know what episode that would have been in, but I'm glad you got it.
I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of, like, a Lenny's pizza, so I kind of just went with it.
Right. All right, what's your next question?
Which friend defeats a samurai warrior during Scooby-Doo in a cyber chase?
Daphne.
Correct.
Here's your next question. Scooby-Doo was partly inspired by a popular radio show called I Love a Blank. Scare or mystery?
Scare.
It was mystery.
Oh.
I Love a Mystery.
Okay.
What's your last question?
You better get this one.
Okay.
Yes or no? The Creeper was suspected of robbing art galleries.
No, he was robbing a bank.
Yes. The Creeper was not part of the art swindlers gang.
Okay, here's the last question. Scooby-Doo, Scrappy, and Shaggy traveled to Transylvania when Shaggy turned into what?
A vampire?
Werewolf.
Oh.
Shaggy has a history of turning into werewolves, though.
I was going to say, well, because I thought it was going to be a werewolf, but then I thought he was a vampire at one point. I have some sort of memory with a vampire, but I don't know.
I don't know.
So, how far am I buried?
Well, I finished with 28 points, and you finished with 21.
So that's 7.
7 points behind, but hey, I'm going to eat the hot dog taco with you.
We're actually going to have like a little gathering to eat these hot dog tacos.
It's all going to be made by Alex, who was our guest host last week. It's going to be great.
Stephanie wants to try them too. You'll meet her somewhere down the line, but she'll be there to eat them with us.
But with that was a really good fight you gave me, Shannon, and I'm glad that we both at least cracked 20 points each.
I'm proud.
So
to know game? I know at least 21 things about Scooby-Doo.
Right. Well, good game?
Yeah, good game.
All right. You can't see it, guys, but we are shaking hands.
We're still friends.
All right. Well, are you ready to get started on talking about Bravo Dooby-Doo?
Of course.
Okay. Well, the premise for Bravo Dooby-Doo is coming from Scoobypedia. Johnny Bravo gets help from the gang while looking for his missing aunt.
She's not really missing.
No, he's just going to visit, and he happens to be hitchhiking with the gang.
Before we go there, though, I need to talk about how the episode started. So we get the Johnny Bravo introduction.
Yeah, the regular theme song.
Yep.
Do the monkey with me.
Yeah. So then it has like a little clip. I was assuming like we had the wrong episode because it has a little clip of Johnny Bravo walking outside with like no pants on. And that's literally just the bit. Like,
well, he walks out not noticing it, and his mom pops out of the house and is like, Johnny, you forgot your pants. I agree. I thought we were watching the wrong episode too, because I had to find this online in order for us to watch it rather than our usual means. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wait a minute. I must be watching the wrong thing because I don't see Scooby anywhere. Well, and then it suddenly like transitioned over to the Scooby-Doo intro.
Yeah, and it had
with
like
Johnny in it.
Yeah, and then it had an odd Scooby-Doo intro that included Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was supposed to be just like a bonus clip. I'm not really sure. It was weird.
Maybe they were padding the time. I don't know, because this was a really short episode.
It wasn't even 15 minutes.
I think it was more like 10 minutes long.
10 or 12, somewhere in there, yeah.
This was probably the shortest media that we've reviewed on this podcast so far on its own.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, there were those 3 7-minute shorts, but we reviewed them all together.
Yeah.
This is one that we're watching on its own, in its own right. I did get it wrong last week when I said what number episode it was. I think I said that it was episode 7 in Johnny Bravo. I think it's actually the 3rd one.
Oh, wow.
So that's even more to the point where
Johnny Bravo was not established.
Right. Well, we start off with Johnny. He's off on the side of the road in the middle of the night. Destroying his car. He's got his exhaust and random car parts just everywhere.
He's grabbing car parts, throwing them out of the car.
It's unclear if he broke down or if he just parked and got into a raging fit and just started destroying his car.
Maybe a little bit of both. I did like the little gag where he's like, kettle of fish.
Oh, yeah.
And he pulls out a kettle full of fish from his car.
He, like, looks at the audience, too, and it's just, like, it's all cheesy. It's funny.
The gang roll up.
In the Mystery Machine, right?
And he's like, so, can I hitch a ride with you guys?
Everyone's just staring at him in silence. He's like, hey, can I get a ride to my aunt's?
And they all just look at him. And then he's like, she lives on this creepy hill. It's a haunted house. And they're all like, haunted house?
Jinkies! Everyone says Jinkies. That was strange.
That was odd.
Not to mention the fact that Scooby and Shaggy were also excited about the haunted house.
They were fairly excited. And then both of the girls just got very turned on.
I know. It was really weird. Well, by the idea of the haunted house. Daphne's not having anything of Johnny Bravo.
Oh, she wanted nothing to do with him.
Velma, on the other hand...
wanted everything to do with him.
So they decide to have Johnny come in the van. He's sitting in the front with Daphne, Fred, and Velma. And
Velma, like, scoots right up to him.
Well, meanwhile, he's trying to impress Daphne. And Daphne's just looking at him like, get the fuck away from me. Like, she doesn't really even say anything that much in this episode, but all of her facial expressions really, like...
She was my hero.
I liked how Johnny was really skeptical of the word Jinkies.
Oh, throughout the entire episode, that hung him up.
Well, you know, the whole gang said it, and then he, like, looks at the audience again, and he's like, Jinkies? What?
So we get to the house... and everyone is literally oohing and awing over this haunted house.
Right. I thought it was weird that they just kind of up and came inside the house with Johnny. Like, I know they're excited about this haunted house, but he didn't exactly invite them into the house.
Well, and they're like, oh, a haunted house. And he's like, yeah, whatever, and walks in.
Well, Velma specifically, she's like, ooh, spooky. Johnny does not give a fuck about Velma. It's so funny.
Yeah.
They come in the house, and he's trying to find his Aunt Jebidisa. I love that name. They are looking around the house. They're calling her name. Shaggy's looking in pots, and Scooby's looking under carpets and rugs, trying to find her.
Well, and at one point, I think before they were looking for him, this loud noise or like a ghostly noise happened. And, you know, the typical... Shaggy jumps into Scooby's arms, and then Johnny Bravo jumps into Daphne's, and he looks over at her and he goes, oh, wow, you're pretty.
And then she subsequently drops him.
And she was fairly strong, because Johnny Bravo is not a thin man.
He's really big compared to the rest of the gang.
Yes.
Can we talk about how interesting it is with how the gang and Johnny, they blend really well in terms of their animation styles? It's really weird because Johnny's a lot more exaggerated and, wonky, being an older Cartoon Network cartoon. Meanwhile, the gang look a little bit more like the traditional realistic representation of the human body. So it was kind of interesting how they melded really well.
Yeah.
Throughout the episode.
They didn't look super awkward at all.
Can we talk about how Shaggy's favorite adjective in this episode is crazy?
Look at that crazy hair.
They were in the back of the van earlier when Johnny gets in the car and he whispers over to Scooby and he's like, "Hey Scoob, check out this guy's crazy hairdo." And then later he's talking about pantries and closets, like broom closets, and he's just like, "Check out this crazy pantry. Check out this crazy broom closet." I don't feel like I've ever heard Shaggy call something crazy before.
I feel like whenever they do a crossover, they try to exaggerate what the gang does more. They try to get more of a gag out of it.
Yeah.
Because, even in the new Scooby-Doo movies, that happened a little bit. And I feel like whenever there's a crossover, though...
I don't really consider the new Scooby-Doo movies to be, proper crossovers.
No, definitely not
because
proper.
Because that was, a series, and it was also really new to where the gang wasn't as established yet.
Okay.
But in these kind of crossovers where they've got about 30 years under their belt, they really do a lot of this exaggerating of different tropes and characteristics that we've come to know and expect of the gang.
Yeah. So, Shaggy acting goofy or weird, saying weird stuff.
Velma's jinkies.
Velma, swooning over a big, strong man.
Which we've never really seen of her before.
Honestly, I feel like we don't see it super often.
Because she was really hot for Sam Winchester in the Scooby Natural crossover.
And in the Scooby Natural crossover, which when we review it, we'll talk about it more, but Daphne literally, one of Daphne's lines was... Well, Velma, when has that type of guy never been your type of guy? You're always attracted to men like that. And she's kind of like, oh, yeah, you're kind of right.
Maybe she was referencing Johnny Bravo.
Maybe. But that's, the only time we see it.
But, back to Bravo Dooby-Doo. I liked when Shaggy opens the one broom closet that he thinks is crazy, and the ghostly gardener is inside. So the ghostly gardener is our villain of the episode. He is just this regular old gardener, white skin, covered in flour. He's ready to garden, and he's carrying all sorts of different gardening tools.
So the first time we see him, he's got a rake in his hand. And throughout the entire episode, no matter what the gardener has in their hand, it's, deadly.
Yeah.
The gardener's out for blood.
Right. He's just ready to slaughter the entire gang. So Scooby and Shaggy, naturally, they freak out, they run, they knock over Velma and Johnny Bravo.
Which I loved. It was a 2-second bit, so I don't even know if you saw it. But when Johnny Bravo and Velma were walking, Velma was very close behind him with her hands together, swooning over him with these big googly eyes.
I don't think I caught that.
And it was a 2-second, and then, because just as they show that, that's when Scooby and Shaggy run into him.
They fall over, and their glasses come off, both Johnny Bravo's and Velma's. Keep in mind that Johnny Bravo's not wearing, prescription glasses. He's wearing sunglasses. And Velma's freaking out. She's like, "My glasses! I can't see without my glasses!" And Johnny Bravo says, "My glasses." And he's covering his eyes, by the way, with his arm. He's like, "My glasses. I can't be seen without my glasses."
So he picks up Velma's glasses, and she picks up his glasses. And she freaks the fuck out because now everything is dark and she's gone blind.
Yeah. I theorized because then Johnny fixes it. They switch glasses and he's just like, "Don't ever touch my glasses." I think he has a dark secret underneath those glasses. I don't know what it is, but I'm suspicious of him.
I wonder if he has, pinpoint eyes. Do we ever actually see his eyes?
We did through Velma's glasses, but those may have been skewed.
Yeah, well, because...
Who knows what's really going on underneath
because
them
she's,
sunglasses.
very blind without her glasses. So she has, the thick-framed, enhanced glasses.
And he's also wearing his sunglasses at night. So I don't think they're for looking cool. I think he's hiding something.
He's a Cyclops.
I disagree, but... Anyway, Scooby and Shaggy, they end up finding the rest of the gang, and they all go to check out the broom closet that they just found the gardener in. And that's when they find the rake that he was holding, and it's covered in flour, as Velma shows. And Scooby asks, why would a ghost be covered in flour? And Velma makes the point, well, because he's not a ghost.
Well, and so then Johnny Bravo is very confused on why she can understand the dog, but Johnny Bravo can't. And she goes, well, we all can. So here's my question.
Okay.
Why? Why can't Johnny Bravo understand Scooby? Why can the gang understand Scooby? Because I don't know if we've talked about it on this podcast, but I know you and I have had the discussion that, like, they're all crazy and Scooby doesn't really talk.
I have a few theories about this situation.
Okay.
One, yeah, they're all crazy and they're all imagining Scooby talking. Two, he has a telepathic connection with all of the members of the gang. Okay. Because, you know, he's a descendant of an alien species.
That's true.
Just keep that in mind.
Okay.
3, Johnny's just a dumbass. Which we know he is.
That's true. I wanted to connect somehow that Shaggy's a wizard and kind of made it so that they can all understand, but that could also be part of the telepathic communication.
I think it's just Johnny being dumb.
I like the alien one, though.
Alright, so now it's our headcanon that Scooby has telepathic powers, and he communicates through telepathy with the rest of the gang.
And that's really sweet, because that means that we're part of the gang, because we can understand Scooby, too.
Whoa.
Aww.
Besties. So I needed to point this out. I'm not really sure if it ever bothered you, because you never brought it up during the episode. But did you notice how off Velma and Scooby's voices were?
Yeah.
They were really different, and I found out why.
Okay.
So, both of them were being voiced by completely different actors and the people at the time. Scooby was being voiced by Hadley Kay. I think that this is because Don Messick had recently died, who was the original voice of Scooby-Doo. As for Velma, I don't really know why the voice changed, because, Velma's gone through many voice actress changes. But the person who is voicing her right now is B.J. Ward, who, from what I found, also voiced her on Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island through Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase.
Huh.
So it's interesting because she sounds wildly different in this crossover as compared to those movies.
Where is Bravo Dooby-Doo located in that order?
I think before those movies.
Okay, because my thought is maybe they, that was a tester episode.
Maybe.
And, the voice actor was trying to find their inner Velma, and they quite hadn't found her yet.
I guess so. But, as far as I could tell, Hadley Kay, the one that voiced Scooby in this episode, also voiced him for some commercials as well.
Okay.
Just some fun facts I wanted to look into, because their voices sounded really weird
I definitely
to me.
noticed Velma. I don't know if I noticed Scooby and Shaggy as much.
Well, it wasn't Shaggy. Shaggy was being voiced by Casey. Casey sounded like normal. It was Scooby specifically that was being weird.
I definitely noticed Velma.
Okay. But I looked into it too. Daphne, Fred, and Shaggy all had their normal voice actors, but Velma and Scooby were a little bit out of the ordinary.
So I definitely thought it was odd that Daphne tried to take charge to split them all up. Because we had never seen that before.
Fred had suggested that everyone split up, and Johnny is like, are you serious? You want to split up in the haunted house? And he's like, yeah.
This is what we do.
And Johnny tried to volunteer himself to split up with Daphne.
But then Daphne takes the initiative, and she goes, okay, Scooby and Shaggy, you're going to go look over here. Me and Velma are going to go look in the basement. And Fred walks over and goes, Daphne.
That was so suggestive.
It was the most suggestive we've ever seen.
Well, you heard the music.
Yeah.
Right when he said that, too. It was like...
And, I know that we've suggested it. Actually, in the very first episode of That Groovy Scoobcast, Derek suggested it.
They go and fuck when everyone splits up. That's what they do.
This is the first time that, it's canon.
It is canon. They are in the basement.
Fucking.
Daphne rearranged the order to where her and Fred go look in the basement. Velma and Scooby look upstairs. She didn't assign Shaggy or Johnny to anything. So
she was way too distracted about going to fuck in the basement. That's exactly what... She was just like, all right, y'all go. We're going to go fuck. I'll be right back.
I have a different theory.
Uh-huh.
I think that she doesn't like Shaggy.
Okay.
So she didn't name Shaggy at all. And she clearly doesn't like Johnny. So she's like, those two assholes. They
Fuck
can
y'all.
go figure it out. I don't care. I thought it was funny. Right before the arrangements were set, Johnny basically tried to bribe Daphne to go with him by offering her a Scooby snack. And he pulled out a platter with a big, like, roasted ham.
Oh.
It was like, I'll give you a Scooby snack.
So once they all split up, because Johnny and Shaggy weren't named or partnered technically, Johnny, because I have a whole thing here.
Okay.
So Johnny goes, well, I guess I'm stuck with Jughead.
Right.
Now, Jughead wasn't a name back then. It wasn't like a nickname. It wasn't like I'm stuck with this nerd or whatever.
I've only heard it from the Archie comics.
So I'm thinking the Archie comics are canon.
Brokenly, yes.
Okay.
Very broken, yes.
Like I've never met them, but I know that I don't even know if I know they exist.
Their universes are parallel, but I don't think they're the same universe.
Okay.
Anyway, Shaggy and Johnny decide to go check out the kitchen. So Shaggy finds a pantry, a crazy pantry, and he shows Johnny, and inside is the ghostly gardener. So he chases them, and they both go and hide in a barrel of apples. And they're trying to, escape the gardener from inside the barrel.
That was probably the best part of the whole thing, because they really thought they were about to get away with it.
They stop because they think that the gardener's in front of them, which he is. They both peek out, and there he is. And Shaggy decides to start this little rhyme, so he goes, "Apple core," and the gardener responds,
"Baltimore."
And then Johnny says, "Who is your friend?"
"Me."
So this initiates a chase scene, the chase scene of the episode. I wrote in all caps on my notebook, and Shannon can attest to like 20 exclamation points I wrote next to it. I wrote, "I love the chase music in this episode."
He sings along to it, guys. It's kind of cute.
I love it. I'm going to insert it right here in the audio so you guys can kind of enjoy it.
Now, hold on, everybody. Alrighty.
Come on, baby, let's take my car to the place where dreams come true. It's a mile up the interstate, and if you want to dance, well, that's there too. Haunted sunshine house, we can groove. Oh yeah. Well, this heart works for everyone's dead. But once the sun shines in, it paint the place red. Don't be scared, girl. When the monster mash, it's out of this world. Come on, baby, kick off your shoes, wave your hands from side to side. Come on, baby, dunk your heads in the apple bin. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll be mummified. Ba-ba-ba-bow, ba-ba-bow.
I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
So at one point when Johnny and Shaggy are running away from the gardener, Johnny pulls out this giant mallet, and he, waits a second.
Oh, because he's going to try and hit the gardener.
Yeah. Now, here's my thing, because we do watch these episodes twice, so I took note. Shaggy is in front of the gardener every single time they run around in the circle. And he still hits Shaggy. The gardener will be behind Shaggy, and he still hits Shaggy with the mallet.
I wasn't really paying attention to it. I just knew, because I've seen this episode before, I knew that he would hit Shaggy anyway.
So then the gardener comes out of the other side and, grabs the mallet out of Johnny's hand and starts beating him with it. My question is, because we know the gang are, high schoolers, right? In this one?
I don't know if they're still high schoolers at this point, because the timeline is really jumbled at this point.
Okay.
Anyway.
How old is Johnny Bravo? Because he still lives at home, but, like, so do I, so...
I want to say he's in his mid-20s.
Okay. My question was that child abuse? So if he's in his 20s, then the answer's no.
No. This is assault. But then again, the gardener's trying to murder everybody, so I think assault is a little less on their worry list.
So then, another part of the chase scene is where they're hiding in the picture.
Oh, they're trying to be
farmer.
the American Gothic.
Yeah. Johnny hits the gardener in the face
with a pie.
With a shit pie. It is a shit pie.
I love it. You also see them running around a window in the light, and the gardener tries to cut them with a pair of garden shears.
He's out for blood.
They eventually crash into Scooby and Velma, who are looking around upstairs. They're all riding in the wheelbarrow now that the gardener's been wheeling around.
And Velma is just straight up on Johnny's lap.
While they're in the wheelbarrow, out of nowhere, Johnny just looks at the gardener and just goes, "Jinkies." And then he looks at the camera and he's like, "Jinkies. Jinkies." And then he looks at Velma and he says, Is that a breakfast cereal or something?
And everyone else is just pretending he's not talking. Like, no one is listening to him.
I feel like no one ever actually talks to Johnny in this episode at all.
He just speaks.
They happen to be in the same scenes and everything, but they don't really talk to each other.
Like, they're in parallel universes, but they can't see each other.
They also have a door scene where everyone's running through the doors in the hallway.
And at one point, there's two Johnny Bravos.
They both stop and they look at each other and then at the screen. And then I think it was Scooby or someone that just ran past, and they both were just like, shrug their shoulders and just run back in, and everything's back to normal.
So is that like their two universes colliding?
Something's wrong.
It's not a great look there.
They end up getting all switched around to where Scooby is now pushing the wheelbarrow, and everyone else, including the gardener, is in the wheelbarrow.
And can I ask here, where's Fred and Daphne?
They are at the bottom of the stairs after just getting done with some fun looking in the basement. They were looking for clues, being wholesome Christians.
So everybody in the wheelbarrow starts plowing down the stairs, and Daphne jumps into Fred's arms. Fred looks at the camera and winks. I screamed.
I want to just interpret this as more of a satire of the Scooby-Doo cartoon as opposed to it trying to be like a legit mystery.
I think that, like, everything is more amplified because, like we said, like with the crossovers, you know, the Jinkies is, you know, more amplified, and the crazy whatever.
Well, Johnny Bravo in itself is a little suggestive.
Exactly. And so I'm
raunchy.
thinking because it's a crossover and Johnny Bravo himself is more suggestive, it makes the gang a little more suggestive.
I have a new theory.
Okay.
What if this isn't our Scooby Gang? What if this is the Scooby Gang that lives in the Johnny Bravo universe, which is parallel to our regular Scooby-Doo universe?
And they're a little less wholesome?
Yep.
Okay.
Which would explain why there's two Johnnies at one point. Because what you said, the universes are colliding. Maybe that other Johnny is the Johnny that lives in the Scooby-Doo universe, but isn't as raunchy as the one that we're viewing right now.
All right. In that case, I don't want to watch this episode anymore. I want to watch the wholesome Johnny Bravo.
So while they're coming down the stairs in the wheelbarrow, the gardener pulls out a
weed whacker.
Right, and he's like about to
slice their head off.
Specifically Shaggy and Velma, like he's ready to use it on their heads. It was crazy.
They're dodging that while going down the stairs.
That's terrifying. That'd be fucking terrifying.
I'd be dead.
The wheelbarrow ends up crashing down at the bottom of the stairs, and everyone's running now from the gardener.
And Daphne yells, "I shouldn't have worn heels today."
Right.
And I was like, bitch, you wear them every day. Like, when has running in heels ever been an issue for you?
The only person who's not running from the gardener at the moment is Johnny, who got propelled into the air. And he's now hanging on a chandelier on the ceiling. And that's when he calls out to Daphne. He's like, "Don't worry, Daphne, I'll save you." But his pants give way and he falls. He loses his boxers, which are covered in little hearts on the boxers.
So the chandelier that Johnny was hanging on then falls and lands on the gardener.
Yes. They decide that the gardener is trapped and the mystery is solved. So they go to unmask the gardener.
The very first mask
is my boy, Professor Hyde White.
So I've decided that the gardener is part of the art swindlers gang.
You think?
It's gotta be.
They knew that that's not right, so I don't remember if it was actually Velma who did it, but I'm going to assume it was because of her fetish. She rips off the mask because she likes to rip off people's faces.
Yeah.
And then it's Harry the Hypnotist, which is a villain from a Scooby-Doo Where Are You episode. I think he was a clown.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, what? Harry the Hypnotist? That's not right. So they continue to rip off masks. This time it's Bigfoot.
Okay.
They rip it off again. And now it's Don Knotts. I love Don Knotts' appearances in the Scooby-Doo cartoons.
Just always so random.
I love it. But then they tear off Don Knotts' face, and it's Joe Barbera. To which Johnny goes, Who's that? I love how meta this is. They decide to rip it off one more time, and it turns out it's Johnny Bravo's Aunt Jebidisa, who is the ghostly gardener.
Can I just say one thing about all the masks? We just had this conversation last week.
About the Chupacabra.
There are so many masks, she would have passed out.
She was wearing 6 masks.
And you know what? That's 5 too many.
She was trying to scare Johnny away because, as she says, quite frankly, I just don't like you.
He gives a bad name to the family.
He's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And Johnny goes, does this mean I can't come visit anymore? He asks this so innocently, too, which kind of broke my heart a little bit.
Like, Aunt Jebidisa is his favorite aunt, and she was just like, fuck you.
Basically. But my question is, why the murder? Why did you need to murder the gang in order to keep Johnny from coming to the house?
And she even says, like, I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids. And all the kids apologize.
Yeah, the gang is actually sorry to Aunt Jebidisa. Like, she just tried to murder all of you.
They're so apologetic. Fred is just so innocently, I'm so sorry, Aunt Jebidisa.
And Velma goes, is there anything that we can do for you?
Send her to jail because she just tried to murder you.
But no, they decide to agree with Aunt Jebidisa with abandoning Johnny on the side of a road, tied up to a tree. And the 6 of them, all of them including Aunt Jebidisa, decide to go and have a little fun. And Aunt Jebidisa is all about Shaggy. She goes, all right, let's all go have a little fun. And then she looks at Shaggy specifically and she's like, how about it, handsome?
So she wants to fuck Shaggy.
Yep.
So then Speed Buggy shows up as a nice little guest appearance.
Yeah, he parks next to Johnny at the tree. He's like, hey, hop in. I'll give you a lift. He sounded so gross.
He sounded like a 40-year-old man who has been smoking since he was 3. Pulled up to a kindergarten and was like, get in, honey.
I don't know who's voicing him in this episode. I didn't care to look, but I know that's not the real Speed Buggy's voice.
And I want that man to just not
ever do it again.
Yeah. So I made a sex sheet.
A what?
So you guys can know who wants to fuck who in this episode.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Let's hear it.
So Daphne obviously wants to fuck Fred.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. Fred wants to fuck Daphne. Johnny Bravo would like to fuck Daphne. Velma and Speed Buggy both want to fuck Johnny Bravo. And Aunt Jebidisa wants to fuck Shaggy.
Yep.
And Scooby is just sitting there very innocently.
Maybe Scooby accidentally crossed over into the Johnny Bravo universe. Like, that's our wholesome Scooby.
That's our wholesome Scooby, and everyone else is just... and Shaggy was pretty innocent. It's not like he was trying to fuck either.
So maybe Scooby and Shaggy accidentally found themselves in the raunchy Johnny Bravo universe.
And they're just sitting there like, why is everyone trying to fuck?
Yeah. So anyway, putting all the sex talk to rest, I want to hear your rating for Bravo Dooby-Doo on the Scooby Snack-O-Meter.
So I'm actually going to rate it a 6.
A 6? Okay.
I did like it.
Talk it out.
I didn't hate it.
Okay.
And I did enjoy the episode.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, like, my favorite episode. but it was good. I liked it.
You gotta look at it on its own because it is on its own. It's a
Yeah.
crossover episode. It doesn't have any other frame of reference.
Well,
It's not part of a series.
No, as like, okay, so Johnny Bravo, not my favorite character. But like, the gags were kind of funny. You know, the kettle of fish.
Do
And
not
like,
tell me that they were kind of funny. You and I were dying laughing watching this episode.
the little sex innuendos I like actually physically screamed at. So those I have to give that, you know. When Daphne jumped into Fred's arms and he winked, I screamed. That was everything. I liked it. It was a good episode.
Okay. Well, I actually gave it an 8 myself.
Wow.
I love this crossover. It definitely holds up to when I used to watch it as a kid. I love Johnny Bravo, which is a really big bonus for this crossover. And I think that it's a really healthy mix of both cartoon styles because it has that out there, raunchy, in some ways, like Tom and Jerry-esque, like slapstick humor in it.
Mm-hmm.
While it also has the spooky, kooky, mystery-solving plot that you would expect out of a Scooby-Doo cartoon. I think they complement each other really nice. None of the characters were really, like, I don't want to say out of character because they were, like, super exaggerated to the point where they were a little out of character, but
You still knew, like, the character.
they were recognizable. The way they reacted to things were recognizable, except for the part where Scooby and Shaggy were excited to go to a haunted house.
Yeah.
That was super out of character for me. But the music, like I said earlier, I loved it. The simplicity of it, like, it's a crossover. It's only 10 minutes long, so it doesn't need to be super complex or anything like that.
Which
So,
I appreciate.
because sometimes with these crossovers, like what you would expect out of a new Scooby-Doo movies episode, they're long, they're drawn out, it's full of padded nothing. But this felt like I got everything out of it that I was expecting and wanting. So,
And it was shorter than a normal Scooby-Doo episode.
right, and like we said earlier, this is the shortest piece of Scooby-Doo media that we reviewed on its own on this podcast so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really happy with what we watched today. And with my 8 and your 6, we officially give Bravo Dooby-Doo 7 Scooby Snacks on the Scooby Snack-O-Meter.
Yay.
I am very happy with that. All right, well, are you ready for this week's fun fact, Shannon?
Always.
Okay. Well, when we start up season 2 of That Groovy Scoobcast, we're going to be returning to Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And I decided that we would throw a fun fact out there about Scooby that we learned in the Scooby-Doo, Where Are You cartoon. So, you know, the one thing that Scooby loves almost more than anything, you know, because he loves his friends, but the other love of his life is food.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the episode Foul Play in Funland from Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, we learn that he actually does not like clams.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Really simple, straightforward.
They're slimy.
I don't think I've really ever had clams before.
They're not great.
No? Do you think I would like them?
Probably not.
Okay. Well, that is the fun fact for the week. And in Scooby-Doo news, I just wanted to remind everyone about the newest Scooby-Doo movie, Scooby-Doo and the Gourmet Ghost. It came out on digital formats on August 28th, I believe. And the DVD and Blu-ray version of the movie will be coming out on September 11th, which should be this upcoming Tuesday after this episode comes out. So be sure to be on the lookout for that.
So for this week, because it is our last Scooby-Doo episode of the season, we are going to take a break for next week, but you guys will still be receiving content. We are going to be eating our hot dog tacos, so you'll hear us then. And we're going to give you just a whole bunch of combined bloopers over the season, just so you guys can still get a laugh from us, but we need a break to just breathe.
Yeah, it'll include some recording bloopers, Shannon and I saying stupid shit, stuff like that. It'll be fun.
It's a lot of fun noises.
I hope you guys enjoy. And be sure to also communicate with us on our social media or email for that Scooby-Doo plush toy giveaway that we're giving out. If you want to have a chance at winning that, you just have to let us know what episode of That Groovy Scoobcast have you enjoyed the most so far.
Or what's your favorite episode of Scooby-Doo that we've reviewed?
Either way, you will have a chance to win our awesome Scooby-Doo plush toy. The color of the Scooby is still a secret, but it will be coming out shortly.
And we are really excited to give it away. As always, you guys can communicate with us over Twitter at Groovy Scoobcast. You can email us at thatgroovyscoobcast@gmail.com.
Or you can contact us on Do Central, my Scooby-Doo blog that I have on both Tumblr and Instagram at Do Central. And with that, we hope you enjoyed this week's episode of That Groovy Scoobcast, as well as its first season.
Come back next season for a Scooby snack-filled time.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye!
We did it!
One down. 200 to go.